It is Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020, and you were tuned into Dirt Tracker Daily. I'm Justin Fiedler. The World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series announced yesterday the rescheduling of two events lost earlier in the season to weather. The race at Plymouth Speedway will now take place on Thursday, September 24th, and the long-awaited visit to Wayne County Speedway in Ohio will now be run on Friday, September 25th. This now creates a three-race weekend with the already scheduled Commonwealth Clash at Lernerville on Saturday, the 26th. Tickets for both events are available through the World of Outlaws. What's interesting about this announcement is this is the same week as the Governor's Reign sprint car race at Eldora. The Eldora shows are scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday, the 22nd and 23rd, but there hasn't been an entry list release for that event yet, and no talk publicly about whether the Outlaws will be able to compete at Eldora. If they are allowed to race, that would turn this week into 5 races in 5 nights for some drivers, as the draw of big money at Eldora will be hard to pass up for a lot of those guys. And the drive from Eldora to Plymouth is only a few hours, so it'll be really doable for a lot of those teams. We'll certainly keep an eye on the situation and update you as we know more. But it's hard to imagine a scenario where the Outlaw drivers are not going to be allowed to run this. I've certainly been wrong before about stuff like this, but I would be surprised if the Outlaw drivers weren't allowed to run. Guys like Brad Sweet, Donnie Schatz, Logan Schuchart, all of these, kind of top running Outlaw teams. It would certainly seem like a big kind of, big hole was in that event if those guys weren't able to run. So hopefully they're able to run, but certainly going to be a wild week for those guys if that ends up being the case with 5 races in 5 nights. When talking about the World of Outlaws late model schedule for 2021 earlier in the week, I mentioned the Sunshine Nationals at Volusia Speedway Park, and there was more info released yesterday about that event for next season. Sunshine Nationals was a new event in 2020 featuring 81 late models across 3 levels, and the event will expand in 2021 to include the World of Outlaws late model series. From January 14th through the 16th, fans will now see the Outlaws, DIRTRACKR Pro late models, 602 Crate late models, and the Florida Late Model Challenge Series to kick off the season at Volusia. You can find ticket information for the event at DIRTRACKR.com. This will also be, you can watch it live on Dirt Vision as well. If you want just more information about that event, you can find that at DIRTRACKR.com. Just this morning, USAC announced that the Silver Crown Series Ted Horn 100 at the Quoin State Fairgrounds in Illinois will not run this season due to COVID restrictions in the state. That means that the Silver Crown schedule, which was already only 6 races, is now down to 5 for 2020, and there's only 1 race remaining. They've already had 4 of those races as it sits. The October 4th show at Toledo Speedway will now be the season finale. The 4 Silver Crown winners to this point on the season are Shane Cottle at Selinsgrove, Cody Swanson at Salem, Tanner Swanson at Luke Soul Raceway Indianapolis, and Kyle Larson at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Justin Grant is actually the current Silver Crown points leader. For more information on the announcement, visit usacracing.com. Only a handful of races in the DIRTRACKR database for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series up to this point, but I jumped in. I wanted to kind of take a quick early peek at some of the numbers. I tweeted a few of these things out from the DIRTRACKR Twitter account as well. The first thing that really stood out to me was how impressive Tim McCready's run at the North-South 100 was a few weeks ago at Florence Speedway. McCready won Heat 3 and finished 7th in Heat 6, which put him outside a transfer spot in the feature and on the pole of the night's second B-Main. A second place finish in his B-Main put him starting 20th for the 50,000 to win feature. Jimmy Owens ended up leading 85 of the 100 laps in that feature, but McCready methodically picked his way to the front and was leading by lap 88. He held on to win, as we know. He also ended up being the night's hard charger, advancing 19 positions. In the 350 races in the DIRTRACKR database between the 4 series, the hard charger has also been the night's winner only on 5 occasions. It's happened 3 times with the All-Stars, once with the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars, and once with Lucas. That's only 1.4% of races where the hard charger is also the night's winner. Pretty crazy stuff there. In the series' last 8 races, only 2 drivers have finished in the top 10 all 8 times, and they are obviously no surprise, Jimmy Owens and Tim McCready. McCready's average finish over that span is 3.5 with 3 wins, and Owens' average finish is 2.75, also with 3 wins. And in those 8 races, there have been 440 laps completed, and Owens has led an incredible 338 of them. That's nearly 76% of the laps Jimmy Owens has been out front. It shows why these 2 guys are leading the standings and doing what they've been doing this season. Been really, really strong, the 2 of them. Especially Owens. Owens has just been out of this world. Other drivers that have had strong runs recently with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series include Brandon Overton, Dale McDowell, and Chris Ferguson, who actually has 3 fourth-place finishes in his last 3 starts. There will be more Lucas races hopefully added soon, and definitely more stuff to talk about. I would like to get the remainder of the 2020 schedule in as soon as possible. And, with the dominance from Owens this season, it's going to be interesting to kind of take a look at some of those numbers like laps led that I just kind of talked about and see what that kind of looks like over the course of the full season. We've talked about many times on the show about his massive lead in the standings, and it'll be kind of curious to see how some of that actually looks with the results and some of the stats. So we'll certainly talk about that more once I get some more of those races put in, and I'll continue to add races as they happen as well. So that number will continue to grow. Right now there's 8 races in, and obviously there'll be more soon. So keep an eye out for that. To see more stats and numbers, you can check out all of that stuff at DIRTRACKR.com/analytics. If you're looking for other shows to listen to this week, there are a bunch of new episodes across the different dirt racing podcasts. Wing Nation has Sheldon Hodenshield, Spencer Baston, and Steve Beitler. Open Red is back this week with a new co-host. That's not me. Rob Blount, one of their Dirt Vision guys, is now the new co-host for Open Red. Him and Ross had Kyle Larson on this week, so check that out if you would like to listen to that. QuickTime has Brad Sweet, Matt Stelzer, and Jason Martin. There are also new episodes of the TJ Slideways podcast, Wednesdays with Wayne, and the Dirt Nerds. There are also new episodes of the SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast and Ohio Dirt. To see a full list of all episodes and shows, you can check that out at DIRTRACKR.com/podcast. That updates automatically. So whenever new shows are posted, you'll get those immediately on that page. Kind of nice thing, just go check that out. Everything's new right there. Also today, there is a new episode. Actually, it was new last night, but new this morning in your podcast feeds. There's a new episode of Dirt Tracker Conversations. I would think most dirt racing fans at this point have at least heard of My Race Pass. If you are already using their app or visiting one of their hundreds of driver or track websites. The company was started by 3 friends, and I spoke with one of them, Josh Holt, to kind of hear the story of My Race Pass, how they got started, and how things have grown and kind of what's next. About an hour conversation between me and Josh about kind of all things My Race Pass, and this was a really fun one for me as somebody who is interested in technology and a web developer and all of those things. This was something I was super interested in hearing about. Was all of the things that they've done to kind of build that company to the point it is today. So really fun one. Check it out where you get podcasts or on YouTube. Like I said, right in this podcast feed, should be pretty easy to find. Streaming schedule for tonight is quiet again, only USAC 24/7 on the list. Things kind of start ramping up tomorrow. There'll be a ton of stuff to preview over the next couple of days as we kind of get closer to the weekend. It's been a quiet 3 days here to start the week. There hasn't really been any midweek shows to talk about. So, but everything kind of jumps back off again tomorrow with plenty of things to talk about for the weekend. World of Outlaws late models are back. World of Outlaws sprint cars are back. Plus all kinds of other things are happening. The Race Saver 305 Nationals actually was somebody asked me about on Twitter this morning. So plenty of stuff to talk about for the weekend, and we will do all of that, as the shows kind of progress here this week. So stay tuned for all of that. That's it for the show today. You can find Dirt Tracker daily on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or where you get podcasts. Please subscribe and leave a review. You can also watch the show every day on YouTube and Facebook. You can email the show at info@dirttracker.com, and you can follow along at facebook.com/dirttracker, twitter.com/dirttracker, and the website itself, dirttracker.com. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Justin_Fiedler, and don't forget to sign up for the Dirt Tracker weekly newsletter. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope you have a good Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow for more Dirt Tracker Daily.